31 Days of Oscar on Turner Classic Movies, where every movie every day is an Academy Award winner or nominee. All the junk we're giving away right now, courtesy of Turner Classic Movies. Let's go to caller 100 right now. Hello, Don and Mike Show.
Caller 100?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, what's your name?
Harold K.
Where are you from, Harold?
Easley, South Carolina.
Beautiful, listening on 98.1.
Listening to it.
WPEK, you've won the 31 Days of Oscar prize pack. Don't miss 31 Days of Oscar. Turner Classic Movies, where every movie, every day is an Academy Award winner or nominee, courtesy of Turner Classic Movies. You've also qualified for the trip we're giving away to New York City. Let me whisper it first.
That sounds great.
You know where. The place that the boys scream out there.
Far away from Easley.
To see the Holyfield-Lewis fight. We're going to give that away on Friday, so please be listening.
Thank you very much.
Beauty, thanks. Hold on a second. Just got to comment on this very briefly, and then we'll move on. We've got more important stuff to talk about.
Yes.
I'm flabbergasted at the amount of attention this goddamn Greaseman thing is getting.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
I just went back in the production room during our commercial set, and I'll be damned if the guy's not the lead story on every single Washington TV station. Now, you mean to tell me there's nothing bigger going on in the world
This is Damage Control.
today?
He had a little news conference today.
Which was jive. Which was jive and unbelievable. The guy's apologizing in his DJ Greaseman voice.
Is he using the Greaseman voice?
Yeah. I'm real sorry for what I shared. I'd like to go to Jasper and see what I can do for the family. I'm amazed.
It's amazing what makes news in this town.
And I was telling Mike,
And it's not just this town. This is all over the country.
all over the country, which is why, I kind of feel justified mentioning it on this national radio show, because this guy has gotten his name in every newspaper and every TV show for the last week for making this awful racist remark.
Well, so did the Unabomber. That's true. I mean, people love it when somebody screws up. People love it when people do bad things. That's what makes news. If it's negative, it's usually in the news.
I know it. I'm just amazed that a week later, it still is
Amazing.
such a huge story. I don't know. I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted.
It's frustrating.
That's all. Right.
It's a little frustrating.
Right. I mean, the guy couldn't get a ratings point to save his life.
Right.
Right? So he makes a racist remark, and suddenly he's the toast of the friggin' town.
It's pretty weird. It's very, very strange. But he's also unemployed, and I think that's...
But like I told you earlier, that ain't going to be for long. I mean, I don't think you'll get a gig in D.C. again.
I don't think so either. It'd be one thing if that was the first time, but having done it twice, and I guess you were watching some of the interviews, and everybody's like kind of saying, "Hey, where's this coming from?" Right?
They're very leery of what he's saying right now.
They should be.
I mean, get the hell jive. I heard him tell you, I'm going to go talk in churches.
Yeah, well,
And so I just heard him say that on TV. I'm going to go talk in churches there. Not only the black groups, but the white groups.
pretty well orchestrated damage control campaign going on right now.
Yeah. The guy will get a job again.
Very strange.
Someone will hire the guy again. He's just a pisser. I don't know. I mean, I'm all for a guy making a mistake. I mean, I'm not for what he said, but I can relate to that. Guy makes a mistake, you screw up, you get fired. But here in D.C., this is a bigger story than Monica Lewinsky going on TV tonight.
Very strange. It's a little odd. It's a little odd that it's this big a story, but this story splashed all across the country too, and I think timing is one of the reasons. I mean, with the trial and that guy getting convicted at the same time that all this went down, the combination of circumstances, I think, made this a bigger story than it may have been. It might have been always a big story in D.C., but I think the combination of circumstances splashed this all over the...
People are talking about it because he got fired and because it made the news, not because they listened to his show or necessarily care if he's there on the radio or not.
But every time there's a story written about him, or today I was listening to TLP, I was listening to the news station when they're coming in today, and they're doing a whole big thing about him, but they gotta say, one of America's most talented disc jockeys. All the stories go, he has a funny show, he has a loyal following. Listen, the fact that you can't argue with is that the guy was mired in last place in the ratings.
That's right.
He'd been fired from like 5 different radio stations. Guy is a loser, capital L loser.
Kind of weird that they don't pay attention to ratings.
Just mention that, that's all.
Again, because of the controversy, I had a couple of people ask me about the story yesterday, if I knew anything, what being in radio and all, and just because he was in the news, not because they were recent listeners of his.
Yeah. Anyway,
I just heard of it.
say, if he really wants to make amends, how about going on some white radio stations or going on some multi-ethnic radio stations? Why is he just making a tour of black radio stations? He's going to apologize on the station WOL, which is a station that, white or black, I'm just giving you the ratings, nobody listens to this station.
Right.
They don't even show up in the ratings. They don't even get a 1.0 in the ratings. I mean, if you really want to apologize to people when they hear you, go on the Donnie Simpson show, which is a show that people listen to. Donnie does a morning show. He's got big ratings. Or, for goodness sakes, come on this show. Or if you're scared of coming on this show, go on a real radio show where people will really hear what you have to say. It sounds disingenuous to me.
I agree, and that's what I get.
A guy that lives in Potomac in the whitest neighborhood in D.C. in a mansion goes down to Southwest D.C. to go to a black church to apologize, and then goes on all these black radio stations today. I mean, it's weird. It's just jive, man.
Yeah, and it's awfully soon too. I mean, I realize that he hasn't had outside of the apology that he ran on tape before they fired him, he hasn't said anything. But it seems to me that when somebody comes back that quickly and has it all together, it's a pretty obviously with Rock Newman, getting together with Rock Newman, kind of a well-orchestrated campaign. But that's the way things are done nowadays. Somebody screws up. And it's like Kathy Lee Gifford, with the sweatshop. Somebody makes a mistake, then all of a sudden you go into a damage control mode, and you hook up with a PR person that's going to come up with your strategy, and that's what happens. And that is the way. And I think that's another reason you probably feel it's kind of disingenuous, because I feel like there's this strategy that it's not really from the heart. It's more like, here's what I have to do to get myself, and obviously, hey, there but for the grace of God go I. I mean, this is a guy that's trying to save his career. He's trying to actually get back, into radio probably, and trying to salvage something out of this tragedy. So I mean, I'm not saying that if anybody else screwed up, they wouldn't do anything differently, but it's just it feels strange and it feels insincere. It just the way it's happening now, it feels insincere to me.
And all the coverage just irks me. I don't know why
it does me too.
But it irks me, man.
It just seems like it's the story of the day. It's the
story of the day for the last 7 days. The guy said it. The guy got fired. Story over.
I feel about that story the same way I feel when they send people out to the airport at Thanksgiving. It's the easy story.
That's right.
It's the easy story. Here it is. He's handing it up. It's spoon fed to the media. They love it. Because they know it's a hot button. They like to cover it. Everything seems very tidy, very neat and tidy. And I think when you're talking about comments that were made, and we talked about that the other day, it shouldn't be that tidy. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be that neat and wrapped up in a bow. It's a little more heavy duty than that. At least that's the way I look at it. And that's why I kind of feel strange about the whole thing.
Well, frankly, I'm kind of sick of it.
Right.
I'm just kind of sick of seeing open up the newspaper and they see that that big ugly face staring out at me.
When I hear him saying, I give you the best I've got all the time, and on Wednesday I gave you the worst I got. It's a pre-thought out statement that's made, and I think I don't know, when you screw up like that, and when there's that kind of uproar, instead of coming back several days after the event with a well orchestrated media campaign, maybe the penance should be lay low for a little while, just shut up for a little while. I think really, I don't know. That's the way I feel about it.
I don't know. I'm just sick of it. I probably shouldn't even be talking about it now, because I'm sick of it. We're talking about it on the radio.
We're talking about it because it's splashed all over the headlines, and you can't ignore stuff like that.
Okay. So anyway, now people want to talk about this. All right. Hello, Donna Mike Show, but very briefly. Hello. Hello. All right. Hello, Donna Mike Show.
Please stop talking about it.
You all right?
Yes.
An odd call.
We've only talked about it for 5 minutes, honey.
I turned the radio on to shut up. I'm so sick of it.
Honey, I am too. That's why I'm addressing it.
Okay.
But I've only addressed it for 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, goodbye.
Getting a hell of a lot more attention now than he ever did when he was trying to do a regular radio show.
Right.
And that's another thing that irks me.
I know.
Truly irks me, man.
And that's on our level.
He's in the news because of what he said, not because of who he is.
Right. Hello there, Donna Mike Show.
I got a bone to pick with them on this greaseman thing.
Go ahead, pick our bone. Go ahead.
You're on with us right now. Go ahead.
Well, I'm I'm wondering why it is. I always listen to your show, and I always appreciate the fact that they don't put down anybody else. They always, speak well of other DJs.
Are you talking about our show?
You're talking about, hold on, time out. Are you talking about us? We don't put anybody down?
My God, the foundation of this show is putting people down.
No, I know, but there are certain other DJs, like someone else that I listen to in the morning, who I don't respect a lot, because all he does is whine and complain about how everyone copies him. And I love your show, and I have the utmost respect for you guys, because you usually you stray away from that. And so it's odd to hear you now, kind of putting some other guy down.
You never heard us talk about the Grease Man like years ago?
Yeah, I know, but he's
You never heard of when he was working on the same station as we
All
were?
I'm saying is he's below you. You guys are better than that.
No, listen, please, no. We talk about people all the time, and I don't know what you're talking about. And we've certainly have ranked on the Grease Man for many years.
And we're talking about it right now because it's a situation where it's splashed all over the news, and it's tough to ignore something like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Usually it's just, when I turn on other shows in the morning and someone whines for hours about how everyone...
We whined for hours. We talked about this for 5 goddamn minutes.
No, I know you. I have only 5 minutes.
But I gotta correct you again, sir, because we whine a lot on this show. This show has a tremendous amount of whining.
And we whined about other disc jockeys quite often.
Absolutely.
And if you want to talk about disc jockeys that are beneath us, may I remind you that a couple of weeks ago we spent 2 whole days talking about Jack Diamond,
I know.
who is lower on the food chain than Grease
So it was
Man.
worse in that case.
What?
But Howard Stern gets on the air in the morning and says that you guys copy him and everyone copies him.
I don't care about
His
that.
show is unentertaining. His show is boring because he does that.
Shut up. There was no point there. He was really listening to his own voice, and there was no point.
Hello, Don and Mike show.
Hey, yo,
It's so funny. I listen to your show, and I don't hear you guys talk bad about people.
And, I listen to these other shows where they whine, and you guys never whine.
What? Why, hello. One of the things we're good at, man. We're excellent whiners.
Absolutely. The only thing's missing is the cheese.
Hello.
And not all the time, either.
Hello. Yes, hello.
Mike.
I got some crotch cheese as we addressed yesterday on the show. Some underpants cheese.
We'll have a wine and cheese party.
Yes, hello there.
Hello, Don and Mike.
Hello.
What's the problem? We said hello, and then you said hello, and now we're waiting for you to say something else. Now you're not going.
All right. Well, one more. Now I'm getting pissed off. See, I shouldn't have brought this up because then people want to call, and all the people want to call, they're all idiots.
Well, I'm not an idiot. First of all, I wanted to compliment Don for when he had his problems, he was the man that stood up to it, and the Grease Man.
And hold on, let me stop you right there. There's a little difference between me being caught with pot and being arrested for pot, which hurts me and hurts my family. There's a little difference between that and saying a racist remark about a guy being drugged behind a truck. Okay.
I agree, but at least you were a man and came on and said, "I'm sorry, I did wrong," and you did the right thing. And now he's trying to have everybody else bail him out of his stupid situation.
I'm sure your thoughts are right. I feel like since we've opened this, we've gotten every village idiot that is calling without really thinking about what they're talking about.
I appreciate the connection.
I appreciate Don for his problems, but I don't appreciate Grease Man for his problems.
Okay, well, the problems are unrelated, though. I mean, they're unrelated.
They're not related, but I say at least a man's a man, and a man who is a man is a man.
All right, well, he's trying to be nice.
I don't get it.
Okay, I don't know. Hello, Dynamite Show. Hello. All right, another heavy breather. Hello, Dynamite Show.
It's a PR stunt.
Well, if it's PR stunt, I don't see how it's working, man, because he's not going to get hired again in D.C.
Well, you remember back when Las Vegas and that guy left without no reason? And he came back, you called it on that?
Oh, you mean the UFO guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, there's a little difference.
No, that is, and when you say a PR stunt, you're talking about something, if it's a stunt, you're talking about premeditated right from the word go. This is not it might be a contrived media event, but the actual activity, the fact that he said this
Yeah,
is
that
not
wasn't contrived.
No way.
Oh, that was just a super screw-up. That's what that was.
No, he didn't say that to get the attention. Absolutely not.
All right, hello, Don and Mike Show.
How you doing?
Hey, buddy.
Well.
Okay, good call.
Hey, Buzz.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Buzz?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for being my friend.
Hello, Don and Mike.
What did he say?
Okay, good. Listen, end of discussion.
Village idiot.
End of discussion right now. There you go, everybody.
God.
Okay. My mistake. Shouldn't frustrated. I walk back, I see JP watching TV.
He was watching the TV of the junkies when they were younger.
Yeah, but at first he was watching all the coverage about the Grease Man before he started watching the tape of himself.
Lots of other DJs doing things around here. And JP, I'm real happy that you guys have gotten a lot of coverage in the media, and I love that nobody loves the sports junkies more than Don and Mike. But JP, when I was walking out and you said, hey, here's a tape, it's the history of the sports junkies, and he said, I'll give it to you. It's like, okay. I said, maybe next Christmas. Okay. I love you guys, okay? The first rule of this stuff, don't read your own press. Okay, guys, I know you're great right now. That's not exactly what I'm going to bring. That's not exactly what I'm going to bring home, JP, and watch all night long.
Really? You don't want to watch that Santa Monica show tonight?
You know,
You don't want to watch the history of the sports junkies tonight?
Hey, honey, the heck with the Lewinsky interview. I've got the history of the junkies.
Okay, Buzz. Let's go right to the cubicle right now, right to the main swapper.
Tonight's headline.
What is your lead story tonight, Buzz?
Did the Monica thing lead to international blackmail?
Oh, okay, good. Well, that's good. Stand by and stay tuned, everybody.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
For news and comments.
For news and
coming
comments.
up.
Coming
on
up.
the Don and Mike Show.
That was very
Professional. I'm
Thank
sorry, I'm a little flustered.
This is the Don and Mike Show.
Too. I went to Mormondale for about a year and a half. Yeah, that's where we met. But I dropped out though. Yeah, she dropped. Yeah. So where are you girls from? Chaska, Le Sueur. But I went to high school in White Bear Lake. Go Bears.
It's so big, you gotta use two hands. The Don and Mike Show.
baby. Las Vegas. Oops, hello. Time out. Hey now.
Hey, we're still broadcasting, but there's... You know, I always think there's going to be a bolt of lightning that's going to shoot down the audio chain and go into our brain.
That was scary.
All the lights just went off.
All of them.
So we got some major thunderstorms coming through the area,
That
right?
was a major lightning hit.
Okay. All
I
right,
think we're still on the air. Everything's
we
fine.
are in control now here, gentlemen.
The old Alexander Haig.
Okay. Wow, that's weird. Because all the lights went out, and the only light in the room was the computer screen, which, for some reason, every light and every bit of equipment went off, but the computer screen stayed lit.
Am I weird when the lights all went out there and, you know, we could just see kind of like the outline of each other's faces?
Were you thinking about Richard Dreyfuss?
I was thinking about how much I enjoyed it. How I enjoyed, like, a totally pitch black studio. It was,
I was frightened.
You were?
Yeah, it was scary.
That was nice.
I crapped my pants.
Crap your pants.
Okay, let's try this again. Hold on a second.
All techniques into one. The Don and Mike Show.
We have a Las Vegas style show.
Yeah, it's a Monday night Las Vegas
I'm
sound
just
show.
seeing if lightning was going to strike again, or the lights are going to go out again. Next Monday night we'll be at Blackie's/Lulu's, Springfield, Virginia, with our all-new Las Vegas style show. We hit the stage at 8. It'll be good. It's the first Vegas style show in D.C. for 1999.
And critics say it's quite simply the most controversial show out there.
Gene Siskel loved it. Please join us next Monday night.
Yeah.
That was his last review, he said.
Absolutely.
Next Monday night, we'll be at Blackie's, Springfield, Virginia. It's a Monday night show. Love to see you. Now, Buzz, let's talk about Monica, whose robe we gave away today.
Well, first of all, take this with a grain of salt because it comes from the very anti-Clinton New York Post, but it's something you can't really ignore either. A new book says there are tapes of the phone sex between President Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, and that those tapes were used to blackmail the president.
Hey, that gives me an idea. I think you might hear those tapes on this show tomorrow.
Could happen.
All
Absolutely.
right, let me write that down. Rob, give us some production time tomorrow, about 2 o'clock.
Well, this book says Israeli officials used these tapes to force our president to stop the FBI's search for an Israeli spy inside the White House. Israel denies the story, and quoting a White House spokesman, the only thing I can possibly say is we'll skip the book and wait for the movie.
Rob, please book that time. Buzz, I know that story is true, and we will have that tape for you on tomorrow's show, the tape of Clinton and Monica having phone sex.
Yeah, we are talking to our sources right now, trying to procure those tapes, and I think there is probably, would you say probably a 70-30 chance that we'll get those tapes tomorrow?
I think there's better than that, Mike.
Oh,
And then
almost
depending on what time you get to work tomorrow, there's an 85 to 90% chance that we'll have that on the air.
Fantastic.
Tomorrow.
All right.
An outside shot, it might be Friday, depending on what time Mike gets here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll try not to be tardy.
The Monica Show is, of course, tonight, and ABC is said to be angry about the content that leaked out yesterday, some of which we shared with you. Among other things, we've heard that Monica calls the president, and I quote, a very sensuous man who has a lot of sensual feelings. He also, and this is the quote continues, he also has a very strong religious upbringing, and I think he struggles with his sensuality. I think he tries to hold himself back and then can't anymore.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Mr. Lewinsky that was not appropriate. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part for which I am solely and completely responsible.
You're watching this now. What do you think? I felt like a piece of trash. I felt dirty and I felt used and I was disappointed. Felt he was being serviced, which was the impression. That was the impression he gave. In retrospect, do you think that Bill Clinton really cared about you? Some days I think yes and some days I think no. Do you think he has any genuine remorse? Or do you think he's just sorry that he got caught?
When I think of the person that I thought was Bill Clinton, I think he has genuine remorse. When I think of the person that I now see as 100% politician, I think he's sorry he got caught.
Monica Lewinsky also accuses Linda Tripp of egging her on in the affair, only to rat her out later.
You know, I just had a thought. I know she's got to make her money. She's got to get her point across. But maybe she doesn't. And don't you think, really, that the country as a whole, after this whole thing was over, might really respect her a lot more and think maybe more positively about her if she would just shut the hell up? And if she had just said, hey, I really don't want to talk
Just like the Grease Man.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Put them all in the
Just
same...
shut up. You screwed up. You messed up the country along with the president. You know, shut up.
Quoting Monica, I pity Linda Tripp. I would hate to be her.
No, that's what Mr. T said.
I felt like
I pity the fool.
I felt like a piece of trash. Yeah. Yeah, very exactly.
Right.
How do you suppose that
Right,
happened?
you pulled up their dress to show those meaty cottage cheesy ass cheeks of yours.
Trashy move. Piece of meat, piece of trash.
Well, the book Monica's Story comes out tomorrow, and in it she takes some shots at Ken Starr, says he conspired with Paula Jones' lawyers, and also Monica in the book says she thought about suicide. These are some things that apparently are not discussed in the Barbara Walters special
You know,
tonight.
that pisses me off too.
book?
People that come out
Oh,
after they
suicide.
decided not to do it,
Right.
to say that they were thinking about suicide. If you really meant it, do it. Jump. Otherwise, shut up.
Melodrama. I mean, what you got is melodrama, which obviously that's a lot of her persona. You know, it's like the tapes with Linda Tripp that we heard. A lot of melodrama on that. You know, that's the reason the whole thing went down.
And I don't know how Barbara Walters is going to play this tonight. That's why I'm going to watch it. But when I saw her, maybe it was on the Regis show today or on Good Morning America, on one of those shows, she's gotten into a mode where she's defending Monica Lewinsky. We're like, Regis said, well, what about when she pulled up a dress?
Right.
And Barbara Walters says, well, if it was another president would have said, that's inappropriate, get out of here. So, you see how she turned around? It's like, Monica goes in there and lifts up her dress and shows her cottage cheesy ass, but Clinton's the one that's bad because he didn't tell her
Not to do
to
that.
get out.
And I think nobody is sitting here defending the president saying it's Monica's fault. It's not. It's both of them. You know, he was a scumbag to do that. But trying to make her the innocent just doesn't wash. And it would be a lot easier to make her the innocent if she shut the hell up. And really, if she just kind of went on her way and said, hey, I was a victim of this, of the prosecution with Ken Starr, but she can't stop talking.
And if you saw that robe that we gave away today, you'd know she's no innocent.
No, that
My
mouth's,
God, she's a pig.
that mouth's constantly moving.
Should have seen the stains on that robe.
I just get fed up with the whole thing, you know, with her. I felt like a piece of trash.
And as sick as people say they are of the story, like the caller we had earlier today, a woman who said she was sick of hearing about Monica, but then when Dawn asked her if she'd be watching the show tonight, she said, well, of course I will.
Yeah.
Likewise with the book, according to Amazon.com, is the #1 book, the selling book on their list, based on the orders they've gotten so far, and yet a survey published on the Associated Press today said that less than 8% of Americans say they have any interest in the book.
You know, you got two differences with these people. They're both guilty, consenting adults, you know, that did something they shouldn't have done. That's a given, okay? Here's the difference, though. President of the United States, doing a good job, popular in the country, working while this is all going.
Doing a good job. Wouldn't be prudent. Wouldn't be
steak.
Right. I mean, really, that's the difference.
On to other stuff.
Okay, hold on. Let's do a break here.
Right.
Okay, I'm getting a Monica ice cream headache.
Sure.
I get so angry. We'll come back, and besides, I want to take a quick break to go back and peek at that Junkies videotape.
Sure.
The history of the sports junkies.
Hey, if you're lucky, he'll give it to you.
And I'm just give me the parts with JP. Not the parts with EB or Johnny Cakes or Lurgy. Just give me the parts with JP. That's all I want. We'll be right back.
This is the Dawn and Mike Show.
In Prince George's County, the outer loop now slows from the BW Parkway to before Kenilworth Avenue. An earlier accident now on the shoulder. The inner loop delays run from Route 1 to the BW Parkway. In Montgomery County, the inner loop delays run before River to the Spur. The outer loop from Georgetown Pike to Tyson's. I'm Brandy Lane on WJFK.
WJFK. Friday night at 8:05 on TBS Superstation. The Romance.
I love you. I really love you. Ditto.
And one very succulent chicken recipe.
My mother had it. My mother's mother had it. They told me all about it.
Dinner in a Movie presents Ghost. When Patrick Swayze is murdered, his spirit returns to warn Demi Moore that she could be next.
You gotta go to the police if it's set up.
Now he's gotta find someone to deliver his message.
Can't you just buy the house tomorrow? Get some chains and rattling.
And Paul and Annabelle help Super Chef Cook-Off winner Claire Smith prepare her winning recipe. Steamy clay pot chicken with to kill for embezzler's purses. Amazing. Demi Moore, Patrick Swayze, and Academy Award winner Whoopi Goldberg. Ghost, Friday night at 8:05 on Dinner and a Movie. Only on the Superstation. And tonight at 8:05, catch the Senior Slam at Los Cabos. Only on the Superstation.
Stay tuned, Fairfax, for the wrestling announcement you've been waiting for. On Friday, April 2nd at 7:30 p.m., the Patriot Center Room will be rocking when WCW presents a battle of wrestling icons. Hulk Hogan!
I'll fight anybody in the WCW any night.
Versus the one and only Nature Boy, Ric Flair! It's party time! Plus, it's wrestling icons taking out Bret Hitman Hart. Also, a indestructible Goldberg takes on Bam Bam Bigelow. Conan versus Scott Hall, plus much more. Tickets go on sale this Friday, March 5th at 10 a.m. at the Patriot Center box office and all Ticketmaster outlets, including Hanks, for this exciting night of wrestling action. Friday, April 2nd. Don't miss it. Plus, meet Lex Luger and Elizabeth this Friday at Springfield Mall. Camp Mill Music from 4 to 6 p.m.
Your wife leaves you. She takes your golf clubs.
Life is hard.
You're involved in a 4-car accident. With 3 lawyers.
Life is hard.
Your daughter has a date with an older man named Snake.
Life is hard. Then you dine.
When life gets hard, dine at Chi-Chi's. Bring a friend for our new platters for 2. Choose Fajitas Humongous, loaded with grilled steak and chicken and barbecued ribs and shrimp. Or our Mucho platter, delicious enchiladas, tacos, ribs, and more. So when life gets hard, Snake may have violated his parole. You know where to dine. Chi-Chi's, because life always needs a little salsa.
Go by and try their new Fajitas Humongous for 2 or their new Mucho Platter for 2 at one of their Washington, D.C. area locations.
Okay, people, we need to have a meeting. The entire company's future and 12,000 jobs depend on it. The clock is ticking.
We should have it with the marketing team in Atlanta.
No, we should crunch the numbers with the finance boys in New York.
Steve, what do you think?
London.
What?
That's right, London.
But we don't have an office in London.
That's why it's perfect. Neutral ground.
We don't have any customers in London.
No distractions.
Steve, you're suggesting we fly 57 people across the Atlantic to have a critical meeting in a place we have no need to be in?
Exactly.
Once people discover they can fly to London and enjoy the unbridled luxury of Virgin Atlantic's upper class for the same price as a regular business class seat, they don't let anything stop them.
London is lateral thinking, Steve. I like it.
Hello, Clubhouse.
Upper Class by Virgin Atlantic. It's in a business class by itself.
Fly to London on Virgin Atlantic Airways in upper class from Dulles International and enjoy complimentary limited
ritual, the One Earth Tour. On Wednesday, March 10th, 7:30 p.m. at DAR Constitution Hall, Lakota drummers of Japan will perform a range of pieces that runs from the drama of thunder to the subtlety of a heartbeat. Flutes, cymbals, and even the human voice add texture and variety to Koda's astounding performance, where the drummers attack their drums with intensity and full-body passion. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 301-808-6900 or visit any Ticketmaster outlet.
This is the Dawn and Mike Show. Dawn and Mike's Cash Call Mania is sweeping the nation. This could be you.
How much money is in the cash call jackpot?
106.
Or this.
How about $212? Hey, right on. Right on. That's fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen.
Or this.
106.
106, yeah.
You did 2 winners today.
Yeah. Give her the money.
Or even this.
$212.
Bingo.
Yeah, more.
It's free money from the Cash Call Jackpot, and it's only on the Dawn and Mike Show.
I thought it was going to be a better one than that. No, screw it.
Come on, you got it.
I got to get it out.
You got it. You got it. That's nice.
Thank you.
If you add enough Broyhill, it makes it taste good. The Dawn and Mike Show.
All right, back to Swingers Central.
Actress Lynn Redgrave.
Haven't mentioned that for a couple hours, Buzz.
Trying to bring that up again. We wouldn't want anybody to forget.
Well, every hour on the hour, that's our goal.
Sexy man. Actress Lynn Redgrave, Oscar nominated.
Keep that to yourself, Rob. Yeah, really.
Oscar nominated for Gods and Monsters has filed for divorce.
She's the monster.
From her husband of 32 years.
Gods and monsters. Lynn Redgrave.
Oh, that's your cheese.
Yes, that's the cheese.
She's filed for divorce from her husband of 32 years now. Follow this part carefully, and there's a good payoff for it. She married her manager, Lynn Redgrave did.
I was going to marry my manager, Donald Ephraim.
Yeah, he said no, though. I remember, God, did you cry? You cried and cried and cried.
No, but stay cool. Stay cool, Don. I can't marry you. I'm going to Egypt.
Her husband manager had an affair with his personal assistant, and that affair produced a baby boy. The personal assistant wound up marrying the manager's son.
You already lost me, and it's because I was not paying attention. I was looking at my CDs. Lynn Redgrave's husband.
Right.
Was her manager.
She married her manager.
Knocked up the personal assistant.
His assistant, that's right.
He knocked up his demon seed, went into the personal assistant.
Right.
She had a baby.
She had a baby.
Okay.
And then she married the manager's son, Lynn Redgrave's husband's son.
From another marriage.
The baby of the personal assistant married Lynn Redgrave's.
No.
Lynn Redgrave married her manager. Then
That I got.
Then the manager had an affair with his assistant.
Right.
That produced a baby.
Right, wait.
And then the manager's.
Wait. Easier if I write it down.
You're gonna do it. He's gonna make a chart.
Very serious. All right. Redgrave.
Okay.
Lynn Redgrave marries her
Marries manager.
Her manager.
Okay.
The manager has an affair with assistant.
Okay.
They have a baby, and then the son, who is not the baby,
Right.
the son of the manager marries the assistant.
Who was the mother of the son?
Great question, and if you're a good journalist, you should have that information.
I don't have that information.
Buzz!
Actually, well, they've been together 32 years. I'm going to guess that he was the son of Lynn Redgrave and her husband manager.
Oh, okay.
Well, then she's marrying her half-brother.
And they were all one big happy family.
Look at the chart. Redgrave, manager.
Right.
Husband, wife, manager, boinks, assistant.
Right.
Meaning, baby comes from seed of father.
Right.
Okay, from manager, seed of manager.
Mm-hmm.
Son that marries assistant who grows up into baby.
Right.
Is that right?
No.
That... No.
The son is the son of assistant.
Okay, but father conceived son with demon seed.
Right?
Right.
Son marries girl that father has been banging.
Right, which makes baby and the baby of the assistant that's a half brother.
That would be correct.
Or a half sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
My friend's got a girlfriend and he hates that bitch.
And they all lived in peace and harmony as one big happy family until this past Thanksgiving dinner when it came out. And now, Lynn Redgrave found
What came out?
The story.
The story
that I just told you.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Well, it could have been anything. Lynn Redgrave found this out at Thanksgiving dinner that her husband had, been so busy.
I can't imagine why anyone would want to have an affair on Lynn Redgrave.
Now the husband manager has spilled the whole story to the National Enquirer, and that is why Lynn Redgrave has filed for divorce. Quoting the soon-to-be ex-husband, the entire holiday was pretty awful.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, I got you. That was a lovely story,
I
Buzz.
thought it was a very lovely story.
Great story.
Right,
And
ma'am.
you tell it so well.
Thank you.
With such
I
enthusiasm.
wonder if the Redgraves ever swapped.
It kind of looks like it's not for everybody. Let me just say that it's not for
I
everybody.
just want to go on record as saying that's the kind of thing that happens when you swap.
Love between two people is a beautiful thing.
You get sons married and half sister, brothers, managers, everything. It's a mess.
Love between four people. One man still hasn't gotten over the Jerry Falwell Teletubby story, and that man claims...
Richard Dreyfuss.
No, the man claims to be Jerry Falwell's gay cousin.
Oh, and I love to get this guy on the show.
Jerry Falwell has a gay cousin.
Well, according to the alleged cousin, the New York Post quotes Brett Beasley as saying that he's ignored Falwell's anti-gay preachings up until now, but he says the Teletubby thing was the last straw for him, and he thought it was time to speak up. He says he thinks that his cousin Jerry Falwell brought up the topic
Cousin Jerry?
because he misses being in the limelight.
Cousin Jerry, I won't be ignored.
Oh, now, come on now. You know that that's ridiculous. I didn't mean anything by that. I just was simply...
Cousin Jerry, you've
Oh,
hurt my feelings.
Cousin Beasley, I know you're gay. I respect your lifestyle, but I just can't. I'm a preacher, and I just can't. I don't want to.
Cousin Jerry.
Oh no! Please don't cry.
Cousin Jerry.